This video is sponsored by Shortform. Does anyone really like the process of reading when all you want is to learn way more than what we have time for? I'm pretty sure that if you like absorbing knowledge, there are probably loads of books that you just haven't got round to picking up yet. Because of a busy schedule, procrastination, you get sidetracked from things, and it probably annoys you a little bit because sometimes there just isn't enough time in the day to learn the ideas you have always wanted to learn. Until you come across Shortform. Shortform makes the world's best guides and summaries for all the non-fiction books you would ever want to read. They're like book summaries on steroids. They're super detailed, so you get the book's key points at a deep level. They have interactive exercises to help you apply the ideas you just learned so that you develop a bulletproof memory in the process. They add smart insights like connecting what one author thinks about another to the point where you end up understanding the ideas at such a deeper level of insight that reading a book often just ends up taking longer to ultimately get a weaker understanding. To learn more than ever from important non-fiction books that you've always wanted to read, join me on Shortform at shortform.com/thoughtsonthinking. You'll get a 5-day free trial and a 20% annual sub-discount subscription if you use my URL at shortform.com/thoughtsonthinking, which you can find in the description and comments section down below. Cthulhu, as a psychological state, is that which possesses a man's spirit into the realm of infinite chaos. I would say it is no different from that which Nietzsche defined as the abyss which stares back at you. The same way as in how looking upon Cthulhu will cost you your sanity. In the process of reality breaking down, or when the wheel of fortune in, for example, the tarot, spins and changes, that is when Cthulhu spreads its octopus tentacles across the mental landscape of reality. The people who get consumed by the desire of wanting to know the unknown are those who have given up their will of autonomy to its underlying infinite possession. The individual falls deep into an unending parade of infinite possibility and cosmic horror. He or she falls into the deepest lagoon of all unconscious mechanics. Cthulhu becomes a state of mind, body and spirit, which even in its possession remains unknown to its victims. Fear of the unknown puts the victim into a state of conceptual hallucination in search for the reaching of that final ultimatum to life, that final reach for truth in a comical world, as Lovecraft says, quote, "The world is indeed comic, but the joke is on mankind." But in all attempts of search and paranoia, the abyss can never be filled by any form of human sense-making. Thus, by virtue of its everlasting scorn on the eyes of humanity, the unending intrigue never falters but continues in growth, while the fabric of knowing the real from the unreal, sense and nonsense, continues to fall in on its own monadic whole. The perception of duality and distinction become dead. Everything becomes real as everything becomes a form of cosmic horror. For what is that which could not exist in the underground abyss of chthonic hell? Lovecraft writes, quote, "The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. Someday the piecing together of dissociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality and of our frightful position therein that we shall either go mad from the revelation or flee from the light into the peace and safety of a new dark age." End quote. Such a statement from Lovecraft makes me think of modern man in the wake and realization of a dying age, and that man's own inevitable realization of living in a society that is on the brink of collapse, and understanding that it is only being held up by, perpetual lies and illusions of truth, will either make him go mad from realization of this great unknown, by the piecing together of dissociated knowledge, which would be, the effect of Cthulhu, or he can peacefully or ignorantly fall into a new dark age of life through ignorance of some kind, because that would be blissful, as they say. Ignorance is bliss because the truth will stop haunting you. It will stop scaring you. and you being blind will keep you safe from it, but only for a while. Step into the safety of the new dark age of meta, if you will. But the cosmic horror that categorizes Lovecraft is, I think, in the idea that you are inevitably picking a choice of poison to some degree. You can step into the unknown and fall down Alice in Wonderland's rabbit hole of the unknown for eternity and never attain for what you seek, which could be this form of idealism of truth and understanding that will, set you free, etc., etc. Or you can conjoin your soul to the mundane reality of now and die by its name through ignorance and deny your spirit into making it something new. Because right now, with the state of the world, we have Cthulhu as this kind of psychological energy, you could say, rising out of the seas after his long, deep sleep. And this monster is showing, or at least allowing everyone to finally look at the unknown, or what was so deeply unknown for so long. Everything is being put onto the table, and it's all up for grabs. Many are fearful, of course, of the unknown, so they don't look. But those who do are mostly going insane by a mixture of possession and non-direction from that possession. And that makes sense, because where do you exist if you don't exist inside culture? And that might be a big problem for everyone, because the collective energy which is revealing the unknown is in the process burning the culture down in which most people exist in. So what is anyone going to do about that? It's similar to how Medusa kills its victims. By virtue of the absurd, most will get possessed by Cthulhu who look at it, and their willpower will ritualize the worship of the unknown of which it represents. But then you will have those that will be able to not get possessed and still have self-interest for themselves through human autonomy, because they won't sacrifice their will to the worship or enlightenment of the unknown. Those people have a strong vitality and a strong will to live, a purpose to life that reaches beyond the mundane. A bit like that Bird Box film, if an analogy can be found in it. Most people who look, in this sense, will go insane. The people who don't will die, roughly speaking, but the people who have a direction, a purpose that is beyond themselves in their own mass culture and are smart will survive and flourish. And you have this now. For example, the self-sacrificing, you could call maybe a conspiracy theorist who doesn't have a will that goes beyond their possession and obsession with this revelation of the unknown in which they are found. Then you have the people that do. And then, of course, you just have the people who are just completely ignorant and don't see anything changing in the wind.